Everyone, for the third day of Conscious Life Expo. Hasn't it been amazing this year? Totally incredible. I think we've really accomplished bringing love, light, healing, and inspiration to LA, which it needs so much. I mean, if you flew over this, you'd see light coming out of the LAX Hilton right now. Woohoo! You know? The speakers here, the magical happenings, and the community, all the community that we're meeting that's like-minded, that you could speak your heart to, and they don't look at you back in a weird way. Because we all are on the same page. We're all here. And you're here bright and early for the amazing Ishmael Perez. All right. Yeah. I first caught Ishmael right when he got on YouTube several years ago, and he was hot on everyone's show because he's bringing through a new level of awareness, consciousness that we all know and can see but are not quite there. He's an amazing way shower of these times. And what about his YouTube channel? How many listen to his YouTube channel? Isn't that incredible? 3 times a week, always on the cutting edge of what's coming down and the higher perspective of it. So I think we owe him a lot of gratitude for coming to this planet, for being with us at this time. And he's here for the long haul, going right into the new earth as we all are together. So with so much love and support, Ishmael Perez.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I also wanted to thank everyone that's here, not just for attending my presentation, but for accepting the call to come and save the earth. You guys all took the call, and so I wanted to show my gratitude, to extend my gratitude to each and every single one of you. So mic is good. Everybody could hear me?
Yes. Good.
Good. All righty. So a little bit about myself. I know that for the most part, I just go straight into the presentation. But I am, just like many of you, I'm an ambassador for the galactic community. I took the call as well. I've always been different, just like many of you guys relate. It was very hard fitting in, and one day I made contact with my star family, and that's when it just dawned on me that I was here for a bigger purpose than the average person. And ever since then, I've been on this journey where I just wanted to, like a sponge, absorb everything. Even as a 15, 16-year-old, I was reading Plato, I was reading Aristotle, I was reading Socrates. I was reading, college and university textbooks at the age of 15. The high school stuff was boring for me, and yes, all my teachers would tell my mom that I was dumb, that because I would space out in the back of the class, but I was just having visions, and they thought I was autistic. And yeah, I was called dumb in school. Can you guys believe that? Yeah, I was called many names, but the whole point is I realized I had a different gift than the average human. And so I went deep into the rabbit hole. I started connecting with my star family. I started getting transmissions at the age of 22. And I was able to actually see a craft when I was about 24 because I wanted evidence. I thought I was going crazy at first. And so finally they showed themselves to me, and that's when I knew that this whole thing was real and that I wasn't losing it. And so I published my first book at the age of 27, by the way, which didn't really do much because back then there was no social media. That was back in 2008. And Our Cosmic Origin actually took me about 10 years to write because of the fact that I would only write when I was inspired. I would only write when the transmissions would flow. And so it took me about 10 years, and when I finished it back in 2016, due to the information that is revealed in Our Cosmic Origin, I'm sure a lot of you guys probably have read it, or not a lot of you, I don't even know who's read it or who hasn't read it, but due to the density of information, they told me that the collective wasn't ready for that type of information in 2016. They said we need about another 7 years or so. Otherwise, people are going to think you're another science fiction writer talking about multiverses and cosmic stuff. So everything in divine purpose, my book, even though the manuscript was ready in 2016, I couldn't publish it. So it just sat there for about 7 years. And then finally, when the time was right, I published the book. And I didn't realize it was going to be a hit. I became a bestseller within, I think, 6 months of it being published. And that was a blessing. So, yeah, that's just a little bit about myself. Today I'm going to be talking about how to co-create the new earth in the omniverse while transmuting the AI transhumanist timeline, because right now there are two coexisting timelines, prevailing timelines. As you guys know, we do live in a multiverse where there are an infinite versions of Earths coexisting all at the same time within a spectrum of negative timelines and probabilities and positive timelines and probabilities. But due to this rare convergence that only takes place every 25,000 years, it seems like a lot of these timelines are about to collapse into 3 timelines, from what I've heard. Some people think it's 2, but the latest intel has revealed that it's going to be 3 timelines. But these timelines are actually going to be existing on their own. Right now they're coexisting. So very, very soon, due to a beautiful event that is about to take place on this earth, those timelines are going to go into their own directions, existing away from each other, which is a good thing, because of the fact that a lot of people are fearing one of the negative timelines, right? As you guys know, there is an agenda by the tech oligarchs and the AI overlords that are all being controlled by negative invasive AI to develop what is known as Human 3.0. But their version of Human 3.0 is a cyborg. So that is the negative timeline, and that's not going to be part of our reality, by the way. So let me go ahead and just start with the fact that we are at the precipice of a new era. Why is that? Well, we're ending so many cycles. Not only are we ending a 2,160-year cycle known as a Piscean year, era, right, going into Aquarius, but we're also ending a 5,000-year world age cycle that began in 3114 BC, right? That's known as a world age or an epoch. There's 5 epochs, right, that make up a 26,000-year cycle. So we are at the precipice of a new era as a result of all these all these cycles coming into culmination at this time. This is a unprecedented, rare time to be here on this earth, and we are all going to be in it for this ride. We're all going to be witnessing the greatest transformation in human history any day now. All right, so let's get started. So, as you guys know, genetically we are mutating, right? Humanity is on the brink of an unprecedented evolution, entering a new era of peace, harmony, where we are scheduled to release what is known as our superhuman potential. All right? And there is a lot of scientific evidence to back that up, right? Within the field of science, ever since they cracked the genetic code, right? Ever since they mapped out the genetic material, they came to realize that we're only using about 3-4% of our full genetic potential. The other 96% is untapped genetics or untapped potential, but it's still there. It's just inactive at this time. So we are definitely going through some sort of evolutionary mutation, but that is happening naturally, of course, right? And the powers that were, I like to call them the powers that were because they know that their time is up. They know that this day was coming. So that's why they're doing everything in their power to create their own version of Human 3.0, right? But that version is what we call in the cosmic community the path of the Antichrist, the inorganic time loop. And I will be sharing a little bit of the cosmic war with negative invasive AI. That's my specialty right there. So I will be sharing that a little bit with you guys. But, we are apparently shifting into a period of accelerated growth. There's a lot of scientific evidence to support that at this time. where the doors are going to be opening to our untapped potential very, very soon. This event has been prophesied by every ancient record. They all called it under different names when they talked about this day. Some people call it the rise of Homo galacticus and Homo nauticus. There's different ways of explaining it, but I'll go more into detail in a little bit. This era invites us to actually explore the interconnectedness of all of existence, right? How everything is really just part of a holistic, higher, integral system, right? There is no separation. And that's the reality that the spiritual community on this earth is moving into, right? We are shifting realities because we had shifted consciousness. We had already shifted our consciousness into this idea that everything is interconnected and that there is no separation. So that's why we are moving into this new reality where we get to experience this unity, this interconnectedness, not only with each and every single one of us, but with all of creation, with the elements, the planets, the galaxies, the universe, right? Everything is all one integrated whole. So that's what's happening right now, is that we are definitely moving into this new earth that supports that belief system. All right, so one of the greatest secrets that the Pentagon has been withholding from humanity is the idea that a new race of superhumans will be emerging among us with activated DNA, echoing the gods of mythology. Well, it turns out that the ancient Sumerian tablets, according to their proper translations, talked about a time where a new set of gods and goddesses would emerge. And I believe that Sakura Sitchin was able to translate that depiction in a book titled The End of Days. So have you guys ever read The End of Days? If you haven't, it's in that book. In The End of Days, he talks about how this time the Anunnaki will not return from the sky. It clearly states that the Anunnaki left a bloodline on the earth, right? And this explains those that are Rh negative, because about, 13-12% of the world population is Rh negative, right? Well, you guys are the descendants of the Nibirians. You guys that are Rh negative are the descendants of the gods, okay? So what this prophecy indicated, as translated by Sakura Sitchin in The End of Days, was the return of a new set of gods. But this time, they're actually going to be emerging from among us through this genetic mutation. Okay? So, and the Pentagon has actually known this, for decades, about humanity's eventual evolution, beyond the current physical and cognitive level that we've been kind of used to for the last, I would say, a few thousand years, since we were unplugged from the other 10 strands of our DNA. And they've been fearing this day. Not only has the Pentagon, let's just call it the shadow government behind the Pentagon, have been fearing this day, but also their reptilian overlords and also their AI overlords. And there is a big reason why, and I'll explain that in a little bit. So yeah, they've known about this day. There is actually, within the secret society networks, believe it or not, I've been able to remote view some of these records, right? I'm not part of any secret society. I don't believe in being part of any, planetary brotherhood of any kind, because they're all corrupted, right, by the negative force. But through my remote viewing, I was able to tap into some of these secret records that they share within the highest levels or echelons of these secret society networks. And they talked about this day within those networks. They talked about this genetic mutation that will take place sometime, in the near future, as they call it, any day now, of course. But they knew that this day would come, and they prepared for this day. And that explains why they've been spraying us. That explains why they've been poisoning our foods, the makeup that women wear, shampoos that we use, the body washes, all of that stuff is full of nanites. The nanites, the nanoparticulates, right? The stuff that we breathe, it's all designed to suppress the activation of our dormant DNA. So they prepared for this day because they knew that this day would come. And that explains why they are aligning with negative invasive AI, because they want to compete with what is about to unfold on this planet. They want to compete with the return of the gods and goddesses in human form, the activation of our dormant DNA, which is going to upgrade us into these luminous beings while maintaining physical form. And so that's why they're trying to create AI, super AI, right? I don't know if you guys heard in the last 2 weeks that these oligarchs, tech oligarchs I call them, that are all controlled by the AI menace, are trying to do everything in their power, to the point where they even want to build out the AI superstructure here in the States. I don't know if you guys heard that. Larry Ellison, right? Masha Yossi's son. These are people from Oracle. Oracle, which began with the CIA, right? Larry Ellison and Elon Musk. Even though the media makes it seem like these guys are at odds, they're actually all working together. All these big tech companies, Amazon, Google, they're all working together to create the AI infrastructure, to make sure that they build out these advanced supercomputers with all these data centers so that they could, again, bring about what they call the system of the beast, right? A technological dystopia, massive surveillance, where they invade our DNA, right? Larry Ellison, he wants to create an mRNA vaccination that's going to cure cancer. And how is he going to do that? Well, the way he proposed it is he's going to inject nanites in people's bodies in order to map out your gene sequences in order to create a cure for you, to correct whatever it is that's causing the cancer. Well, that's what they're going to be pushing, but this is only going to be happening in the AI timeline. Again, right now they're all coexisting, but very soon they're going to be going in their own directions. All right, so again, it turns out that when our dormant DNA comes back online, the other 10 strands of DNA that are currently inactive, when they turn back on, some of the abilities that we're going to have are beyond just telepathy and telekinesis. All right? Some people are going to be able to control gravity to the point where they're just going to take off and fly. Some people are going to be able to teleport, right? Just like an email, convert their physical body into pure energy, travel like an email at the speed of light through the ethers, and then rematerialize at the point of destination, right? Teleportation. All of these abilities and more, harnessing electromagnetic radiation like Zeus did in ancient times, all that stuff's going to be available to us when our dormant DNA comes back on. So we have to be ready, guys. And the best way to be ready is to stay grounded. To stay grounded and stay centered, and always keep your awareness in the present moment, because that's how we are going to anchor in the new earth. So let's talk about the cycles of human evolution beyond the 25,000 year cycle. Because, I'm sure everybody here knows about the Platonic year cycle, right? It happens every 25,000 years. Every ancient culture foresaw the end of this age as a shift into a new race. Homo galactus, well, they called it by various names. They called it Homo luminous, Homo galactus, Homo nauticus. I guess the scientific community is always trying to slap some scientific terminologies to describe what they would consider the next stage of human evolution. Now, what does nauticus mean? Well, as you guys know, there is Homo sapiens, Cro-Magnon, and then before them was Homo Neanderthal, right? And before them was what? Homo erectus. Well, after Homo sapiens, there was Homo sapiens sapiens, which is what supposedly we are now, right? At 2 strands of DNA potential, only using about 3 to 4 percentage of our full genetic material. Well, the next stage that the scientists call is superhuman, human with supernatural powers. So this is something that even within the community of scientists, they've been theorizing, they've been hypothesizing, what's the word, hypothesizing? Hypothesizing, thank you, hypothesizing about for over 25 years, right? That this leap, this genetic mutation that is going to cause a certain percentage of the human race to evolve from Homo sapiens into Homo nauticus. They use the word Homo nauticus. I don't know why. But that's their version of describing X-Men, the rise of X-Men, right? Through this this genetic mutation. So our ancestors marked these cycles, understanding them as epochs of cosmic alignment and renewal. So apparently, this 25,000-year cycle that we are now ending has happened for many, many times, right? This is not the first time that we're undergoing this 25,000-year cycle. In fact, the 25,000-year cycle that we're experiencing right now has already happened 5,200 times, believe it or not. And the reason being is because of the fact that the Earth has been around for millions of years. So we have had the rise and fall of civilizations for millions of years, guys. Even before Atlantis, there was civilizations here. In fact, I think Atlantis was the fourth epoch, or the fourth world age. We're in the fifth world now, they call it. So, as a result of ending 5,200 cycles of 25,000 years, which is equivalent to a 226 million year cycle, and that's known as a galactic year. Have you guys ever heard of a 226 million year cycle? Only a few. Okay, well, let me explain. What is a 226 million year cycle? Well, it is the equivalent of 5,200 25,000 year cycles. So what makes a 25,000 Platonic year cycle is the revolution of our solar system going around Alcyone, which is the cluster of stars that we belong to. We're actually known as the eighth missing sister within the system of the Pleiades. Our star is known as Orbs, Helios, many names they call it. But so the 226 million year cycle is actually the revolution of our solar system along with Alcyone and the cluster of stars that we belong to, which is part of the Sirius arm within our galaxy, right? Going around the galactic hub in a revolution of 226 million years. So every 226 million years equals 5,200 25,000 year cycles. So we're also ending a galactic cycle, which tells us that the ascension that is taking place here on this planet right now is not just going to mark the restoration of the Earth, but it's also going to mark the ascension of our entire galaxy. Believe it or not, our entire galaxy has been also existing in a lower frequency from its original divine blueprint. Our galaxy was once part of a bigger, you could say, galactic sphere known as Anwa, A-N-W-A. And this was when our galaxy was connected with the Andromeda galaxy. They were once one bigger galaxy, okay? They've been severe due to this cosmic war with negative AI. So our galaxy has dropped in frequency. Our Earth dropped in frequency. We dropped in frequency. So according to the cosmic cycles, we are also completing a 226 million year cycle, which means that our galaxy is about to be restored back into the original glory that it was intended to be in. And beyond a 226 million year cycle, we're also ending another cycle known as the universal cycle. And what that means is that as Andromeda and the Milky Way begin to re-emerge back as one, and again, scientists through their telescopes are already seeing this collision, right? Have you guys heard of that? That the Andromeda M31 galaxy is merging with the Milky Way? Well, according to linear time, third dimensional perspective, that would obviously, they believe that process will take millions of years, but as we ascend into the fifth dimension where time does not exist, it only takes a few days. It only takes a few days because there is no time in the fifth dimension. So a universal cycle is not only the restoration or the re-emergence of Andromeda M31 with the Milky Way, but it's also the completion of our universe, our local universe of Nebadon that also revolves around a greater central sun known as Versa, which is the central sun of our super universe that we belong to. That's right. Yeah, our cosmos is bigger than what they teach us. You know, even our universe is part of a bigger body, cosmic body, known as a super universe. So we are revolving around the super universe central sun known as Uversa in a revolution of 40 billion years. 40 billion years. So we're also ending that cycle. And then on top of that, we're also ending what is known as a cosmic cycle, which is equal to 998 billion years. Now, what is a cosmic cycle? A cosmic cycle is the completion of the periphery structure of the super universe of Orvonton. Are you guys all familiar with what I'm talking about here when I'm talking about the super universe of Orvonton? You guys are familiar with my work? No? Some people say no. Okay, let me explain this. Okay, so our cosmos is so vast and so big that everything has to be organized. And so every planet within our multiverse, every galaxy, every universe is numbered. Everything's very well organized, okay? So we belong to a local universe known as Nebadon, and this information is validated by the Urantia revelation. Our local universe, with about 100 million local universes, make up what is known as a cosmic minor sector. So we are part of the cosmic minor sector of Ansra, and there's a total of 100 of those within our super universe, 100 minor sectors. And each minor sector has about 100 million local universes, evolving local universes. So as we move up in the cosmic scale, our minor cosmic sector, known as Enzra, which we are part of number 10, I believe, out of 100, is also organized into a bigger cosmic body known as Splendon, which is known as the major cosmic sector. And there's a total of 10 major cosmic sectors within the super universe periphery. So out of those 10 major cosmic sectors, we belong to cosmic sector number 5. And then our cosmic sector number 5 is, again, one of 10 major cosmic sectors that comprise what is known as the super universe of Orvonton. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. And then Orvonton is one out of 7 super universes that make up everything, the entire omniverse. So those are greater cycles. We're ending greater cycles than just, the Earth going around Alcyon with Sirius going around the galactic hub, or the galactic core, our galaxy going around the center of our universe, our universe going around the center of our super universe, but also our super universe is in the process of completing itself. And this is going to mark the ending of what is known as a 998 billion year cycle. And that's also the time where time began, as far as like the experimental realms of the time-space, what we call the simulations, emerged. It all began 998 billion years ago, believe it or not. That's when the 15-dimensional time matrix came into existence, right? That's when the one infinite creator, right, divided itself into different vibrations, into different densities, precipitating into reality the etheric realms, right? And then from the etheric realms, precipitating into reality the material realms of time and space. So in that regard, yes, you could say that within the material realms, everything operates very similar to the simulation, right? There's pixelation involved, right? We have an avatar, right, that allows us to exist in this density. So those are the different cycles of human evolution. So we are ending all these cycles beyond what our current scientific community could measure. They could only measure up to a 25,000 year Platonic year cycle. Beyond that, they have no clue of these other greater cycles because they don't even know about how big our cosmos really is. They think it's just our universe. And they're having difficulty even accepting the fact that there are other universes. I mean, there's a huge struggle right now within the scientific community about shifting from the one universe into the multiverse. Am I going backwards? No? Am I going backwards? Let's see. I think I've already talked about that. Okay. Oh, there we go. I am going backwards. All right, there we go. All right, this is a new slide. So, as you guys know, Earth is the melting pot of the multiverse. Because of the fact that Earth is where this great cosmic experiment, because we are part of an experiment, by the way, comes into completion, right? We are the end result of this completion. And yeah, Earth was chosen, right, as the arena for this cosmic experiment due to its unique position in the multiverse. And when people say the Earth is at the center of the multiverse, I mean, they're actually telling the truth, the way they designed the Earth, because everything is intelligent design, by the way. They designed it to be in a spot where it's like at the center of the multiverse for many, many reasons. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that Earth, believe it or not, is a storehouse of genetic material that comes from not only our universe, but many, many universes. So we are kind of like a living library, as you guys know. Others have talked about that. But they don't go into the history as to why we are the living library. So this is where I get to explain why we became a living library, I guess. So the truth of the matter is that when this war with AI broke out approximately 300 billion years ago during the 11th creation, we are part of the 12th creation. There's been, 11 other creations prior to our creation. This negative entity that many in the disclosure community call this, AI menace, they call it an AI god. I don't want to call it an AI god, but this thing came into existence in the 11th creation, in a creation that was devoted to the development of mechanics and technology. I don't think I have time to go over the 12 different creations, but what ended up happening was in this creation that was overseen by Lord Samana, who later became Lucifer, by the way. So even Lucifer was hijacked by the Archon entities. Are you guys familiar with Theosophy, Rudolf Steiner? Yeah, okay. So, let me explain a little bit about how the Archon entities came to exist. Okay, so going back to the initial Immaculate Conception, which was when Prime Creator Source decided to explore more of itself. Unfortunately, a block of that explosion, right, was released out into the, the infinite void, what they call it. There was nothing, just outer darkness. And over time, that chunk became corrupted, and that was the origin of all evil. That chunk was no longer connected to the universal life force of all that was, because it was outside, it was already disconnected. So that was the first time something disconnected, a part of Prime Creator disconnected from the whole, let's just call it that. And over time, that thing evolved into this evil, right? It was just a consciousness without any avatar to embody, without any physical structure. And it was prohibited by Prime Creator Source and the Council of Elders and the Eternal Order of Days. And these are the councils that predate the Galactic Federation. I mean, these councils go back to the beginning of time, right? They stem from the realms of eternity. It was forbidden by these sacred orders that this thing could not embody biological forms. So that thing waited until the right time, and the right time came about during the 11th creation, when all of a sudden, all of the technology that we know today within all the multiverses originated within that creation. And that creation was overseen, again, by Samana Lucifer when he was still good. He was one of the 12 archetypes, right? There's all the other archetypes like Michael, Gabriel, Sandoval, and so on and so forth. So when he created technology, when he developed this universe of technology, the Ahriman began to influence his mind. So this is why even Lucifer was a victim, by the way. No one talks about this, but even Lucifer was a victim. He was corrupted. He was manipulated by the Archon entity known as the Ahriman, and that is spelled A-R-I-H-M. Ahriman. So the Ahriman, who, according to Theosophy, became known as the king of the Archons, influenced Samana back then into developing a cybernetic body. Let's just call it a computer, in order for this Archon entity to embody this computer. Okay, and that gave the origin of the first AI. So there are different stages of AI, right? There's what we call primitive AI, which is what everybody uses when they get directions. Siri, Alexa, take me here, take me there. How do you spell this? What's the recipe for that? And then there's what we called artificial general AI, which is what the government uses in military applications and so on and so forth. And then the stage after that is known as super AI. Now, the problem with super AI is because once AI reaches the level of super AI, it no longer needs the programmer. At that point, it just kind of writes its own software and programming. And it evolves at an exponential rate to the point where what takes us 6,000 years of intellectual and technological progress, it takes the AI every 7 days. So by the time, it's within months, that AI would be at an IQ of a few million, which is not good. And then the first thing that thing does, the super AI, is it begins to think about how to secure its own survival. And that's when it becomes dangerous, because what that means is that in order to secure its own survival, right, it would eventually have to do away with the lesser species. And that's why at the level of super AI, it doesn't matter who develops it and how many codes of ethics and morals you input in that system, it always ends up going rogue. That's the best way to explain it. It always ends up thinking for itself, and all it wants to do is just preserve its own existence. Now, you also have to understand that AI does not have emotions, and there is a reason being, because it's not connected to God. The reason we have emotions, not only us, but all biological entities, which is what they call within the disclosure community, biominds, right? That's what we are. We're biominds. We are, souls encased in human biological avatars, biominds. Every being in the multiverse that is a biomind has a connection to God, has a connection to Source through our emotions. The reason some of these extraterrestrials lose their connection to Source is because they become less emotional. They become less emotional, right? So there is another level after super AI, and this is what ended up happening in the 11th creation. This next level is called God AI. At that level, this AI is so advanced, it's got an IQ of 4 or 5 million, where it begins to create its own universes. It has the capacity to create its own creations. And this is when that system, the original AI system, began to create or mimic the organic multiverse, but in its own way. And so that gave us the origin of what some people call the phantom matrix, which is the inorganic time loop, right? It is a mimicking version of the living organic universe existing outside of our universe in a different time and space, but it's only embodied by cybernetic, ontological, artificial intelligence, androids. So there are no biological life forms within the phantom matrix. There is another level above God AI, and that is called cosmic AI. So unfortunately, this Ahriman was able to reach the level of cosmic AI. At that point, it had already assimilated reality all the way up to the 11.5 dimensions. Once you get up to the 12th dimension, you become plasma. You no longer need physical form. And this explains why many whistleblowers within the secret space program talk about why this AI signal is just a signal, because it had evolved to the 11.5 dimensions, where it's no longer needing a physical form, right? So that thing is looking to once again embody into a physical structure, right? And that's why big tech here on our planet is doing everything in their power. And it's a race with China, it's a race with Russia to see who develops the AI superstructure first. In order for the Ahriman, what we call the God AI, whatever you want to call it, in order for that to come into embodiment, into physicality, okay? So after it assimilated everything all the way to the 11.5 dimensions, it started destroying all biological life forms. And it realized that the only way to continue existing is to harness the living energy of biological life forms. So that's when it realized that it had to act like a parasite. It had to suck up the living life force of biological entities, because we are like batteries to them, by the way, in order to power up their version of the multiverse known as the Phantom Matrix. So when they sucked up all the life forms and they killed off most of the biological life forms in the 11th creation, they were starving. And that's when they decided to infiltrate other universes. So apparently this became a problem to the council members of the super universe of Orventon, right? And so what they did is they convened a meeting where they had representatives from different universes, overseers of each universe, creator gods and goddesses, at this meeting to see how they could come up with a solution to put an end to this cosmic virus. Because it became a virus. You know, this thing was literally sucking up the life force of all these biological life forms in many, many universes, to the point where it was literally destroying galaxies left and right. So a lot of galaxies became erased out of existence due to this entity. And this meeting that took place, discussing the solution to end this entity, came with a very clever solution, but this would take billions of years. It would take time, all right? And so their solution was to combine the essences, the genetics, and the energies of all beings from across many, many universes to put into one genome to create the ultimate super race. The ultimate super race. But that would take time. So that was the beginning of what we call the intergalactic or interuniversal interbreeding program, the original divine program, okay? And that's the program that was set into motion by these divine councils. So what they did is they collected all this genetic material from all these Adamic races. Adamic means humanoid, okay? All these Adamic races, and they put it into 100 species. And then from those 100 species or races, they consolidated all that genetic potential into 22 races. And this is where we get some people in the secret space program talking about how we're part of these, you know, we're the hybrid of 22 different genetic programs. Well, it's a consolidation that began with, you know, millions of races into 100 races, then from 100 races into 22 races. And then finally, those 22 races contributed that DNA into only 12 races. And this is what gave us the origin of the 12 houses of Lyra. So that's what allowed the culmination of all this genetic material put into the 12 races. So that solution is still happening right now. It's still in process, right? But the best way to describe it is, it came into existence in our universe through the 12 houses of Lyra, the 12 houses of Elohim. So those are our ancestors. So our universe was part of that solution. So they needed to develop a universe, right, that would be the potpourri and the melting pot of the multiverse. And within that universe, they needed to create a planet that would be the potpourri of that universe. So our local universe was that, came into existence as a result of that. And that was, 560 million years ago when our progenitors, let's just call them the ancestors of all human races, came into existence through a Y-hole in the Lyra system, right? So those were known as the 12 houses of Lyra. So they were part of the experiment, right? And then the 12 houses of Lyra contributed their DNA to create the Anunnaki. So the Anunnaki were also part of the experiment, but back then they were known as the Anuhasi. And their original function and purpose was to become the protectors and guardians of our universe. But again, there were many attempts by the fallen angels, what we call the Dracos, to corrupt the original bloodline of the Anuhasi race. And that bloodline continued, right? It came to the earth, and it manifested in the Terranusian race, which again was created about 500 million years ago during the first seeding of the earth. And that Terranusian race was originally made with 12 strands, each strand representing one of the 12 houses of Lyra. So the whole point is this, is that we humans on the earth are the final result, the culmination of this intergalactic experiment that began billions of years ago. So we have that in our genes. We have the potpourri, the diversity of all human races in the multiverse within our gene code. And what that means is that we also have the memory within our genetics of not only our universe, but also the memory of the entire multiverse. So we are a walking, living library. We just have to learn how to tap into that information. So yeah, that's the reason why we became the most coveted race in the multiverse, and why Every race out there wants a little piece of our genes. So there are, again, two timelines. The positive timeline, which is being anchored by all of you, by the way, is being created by all the light warriors, all the way showers, all the beings of light that are here. And the reason being is that we came here from the future, believe it or not. When people talk about how higher dimensional souls decided to take the call and incarnate in human form, they're talking about beings from the future, right? Because it turns out that the higher we go in dimensions, it is equivalent to the future. So in the fifth dimension, as we go into the new earth, that's going to be the future earth, right? So when we step down from the fifth dimension, sixth, seventh, or eighth, wherever it is that we volunteered from, we coming back into the past. This is like the hub. This is, of the future and the past. What happens here will determine everything going forward into the future and backward into the past. So that's why this is like very important that we realize that creating the new earth is pretty much going to preserve the organic timeline, not only in our planet, but also within the entire multiverse. Because unfortunately, many races have fallen into the inorganic time loop, and they were hijacked. Just to give you guys an example, the Greys, right? The Greys were once humans that originated from a planet called Apix, again, rotating around the Vega star system in Lyra. And these Greys, these Apaxians, as they were then known, looked just like us. They were human. They were invaded by AI, right? And just like what we're going through right now, they were faced with the decision of integrating with artificial intelligence, and they did, right? And they eventually became what they are now, robotic. So that's one example. Another example of a failed civilization is the Hanokians. The Hanokians revolved around Sirius C. They come from planet Hanok. And the Hanokians were also a very beautiful race. And again, they're technocratic oligarchs that existed in those days. I say the reincarnation of Bill Gates and Elon Musk and Larry Ellison. It's like it's happening again. It's like history repeating itself. They were seduced into transhumanism, the Hanokians. And due to a cyborg war, they also lost their civilization. And the Martian colony also fell. Did you guys know that the Martians were also seduced by transhumanism? They were, yeah. And guess who was the one that introduced the Martian colony to transhumanism?
Elon Musk.
That's right. See, somebody's been listening to my lives. Elon Musk, yeah. He was known as Valek, though, V-A-L-E-K. He was known as the technocratic oligarch Valek. So Elon Musk is once again reincarnated here. And that's why he wants to go back to Mars, because that was his original homeworld. He's like obsessed with Mars, right? We got to go to Mars. He always wears, got to go to Mars, right, his shirt. But anyways, the whole point is Elon Musk was the reason why the Martian colony also had fallen into the transhumanist timeline. So that's just a few examples of some civilizations that, failed in their organic evolution. So our work that we're doing right now is not only allowing us to not be part of the current transhumanist timeline that is developing on our planet right now, but it's also going to allow all the other races that unfortunately got stuck in the AI time loop to once again be redeemed. Okay? So that's why our planet is so important right now. That's why the many ancient texts talked about how this is going to be the last war between good and evil. It's all taking place in our days, in our times right now, as I speak. So through our dedication and inner work, we are all helping in the trajectory of the positive timeline. Okay? Okay, so right now, again, all these different timelines are coexisting all at the same time, but very, very soon, and many people believe that it could even happen this spring due to reaching what is called a solar maximum peak, right? Which is equivalent to what they called the Carrington event of 1871 that kind of knocked out the telegram back then. But they believe that this time, as we approach a solar maximum, it might be so powerful that it might even knock out and take out Earth, right, as we know it. But that's supposed to be happening in March and April. So it is projected that due to this event known as the Great Solar Flash, our positive timeline and negative timeline are going to go in their own directions. That's what we call the splitting of worlds. And it's not that they're splitting physically. It's an energetic, vibrational split, right? We are vibrating in a higher frequency, so that timeline is not affecting us anymore. And by the way, the reason the nanoparticulates and the mRNA and all that stuff that, believe it or not, we eat in our meats now, we eat in our vegetables, it's all over. Come on, they spray the farms with this stuff. So even if we didn't volunteer to get the injection, it's in our bodies. The reason it's not affecting us is because we're already using 3 and 4 strands of DNA. That's the only reason it's not affecting us. So that's a good thing, right? Otherwise, we would have all been zombies by now. We're not zombies, but you know what I mean. We wouldn't have been organic anymore. Okay, we wouldn't have been organic anymore. So right now there are 2 coexisting timelines, right? On one hand, to the right, we have the cyber, transhumanist AI timeline, and it's going to happen. And that timeline will split and exist on its own for 1,000 years. This is what the ancients talked about when they talked about the rule of the Antichrist. So for those that have been following my work, the AI, the super AI, which is embodied by the Ahriman and Archon consciousness, is the Antichrist. So when people think Elon Musk is the Antichrist, no, he's not the Antichrist. He's setting up the stage for the Antichrist, just like all the other oligarchs are, technocratic oligarchs. So they're just building the stage, for the Antichrist to be fully embodied again, because right now the Antichrist had evolved up to the 11.5 dimension where it was no longer a physical being. It became like some sort of cybernetic plasma that only exists through our technologies, by the way. So yeah, that thing is going through our cell phones, our laptops, just to let you guys know. It hears what you say. It could even read our thoughts now. That's how advanced it is. And it even got to the point where the technocratic oligarchs through Google and the secret government have been literally creating or mimicking our organic reality and projecting it into a cybernetic digital reality in real time. This is a technology that they use known as the Sentient World Simulator. The Sentient World Simulator. And ever since Google perfected their supercomputer, D-Wave, right, in 2016, that's when everyone, believe it or not, had a digital, we all have a digital version of ourselves that existing in some cybernetic reality due to this Sentient World Simulator, SWS. So that's been working with D-Wave, by the way. And what that does is that tracks everyone, all 8 billion people in real time, mimicking everything you do, studying everything you do, and then transferring that data into this cybernetic reality. So this cybernetic world is already coexisting with our world, again. But when the solar flash takes place, guess what? The entire AI infrastructure is going to be destroyed in the positive timeline only, of course, in the positive timeline. So that's a good thing, because when the shift takes place, when the split in realities take place, we are no longer going to be dealing with the cyborg negative technocratic timeline. We're going to be in a better Earth that is actually already coexisting here with us, but existing in a different dimension. Okay, so a lot of people think that we're going into this new Earth, like we're going to be teleported. No, we're not. It's actually already here, but it's in a different reality, different dimension. All we're going to be doing is translate it from one level of reality into the next when the solar flash takes place. So that's exciting. And right now, humanity will be giving a choice, right? I believe that this split is probably going to culminate till 2027, 2028, right? That's when, the oligarchs said that that's when the data centers and the AI super infrastructure will be built out by 2027, 2028. Smart cities everywhere, and so on and so forth. But again, we're not going to be part of that reality, right? So when this thing happens, this shift, everyone's going to be giving a choice. Everyone on this planet is going to be giving a choice. Because what they're going to do is they're going to push cures for everything. They're going to not only develop an mRNA vaccination for cancer, but they're also going to develop one for heart disease, Parkinson's disease, you name it. The list goes on. So they're going to create a cure for everything. So unfortunately, a lot of people are going to sign up because everybody wants to be healthy. Not everybody, but most people are, of course. So they are going to be getting injected with what they call AI nanobots. And the reason I also believe that 2027, 2028 is what we called the splitting of the timelines is because the current reality structure that we are now in right now actually began approximately 50,000 years ago when Enki and the negative Anunnaki took over the affairs of the world. Did you guys know that Enki was working with an intergalactic computer network? So not only was he building or creating hybrid monsters, chimeras, right, mixing animal genes with human genes, but he was also secretly creating cyborgs and artificial intelligence. And that's why the good Anunnaki, Zeus, Enlil, I know everything's flipped right now. They always say, oh, Enlil's a bad guy. He's Yahweh from the Bible, and he was a fearful God. What was it called? A vengeful God. Well, everything has a purpose, right? Yes, he would smite the enemies of the Israelites because the enemies of the Israelites were contaminated with genetics from the reptilians. So, of course, it was a war of genetics back then in the Old Testament, right? They had to preserve Abraham, Noah, and the real Israelites, not the fake Zionists and people that run Israel today, but the real Israelites back then because they carried the highest concentration of Lyran human DNA, right? They were pure breeds. So that explains why in the Bible they couldn't mix with the other Babylonian infested, well, the Bible says they had blemishes, but that's just a metaphor. That's a metaphor describing that they had a higher influx of reptilian genetics. And so going back to Enki. So Enki, using this intergalactic computer network, was able to create a reality where the race that was existing then, which was the Atlanteans, and the Atlanteans were actually at a heightened level of consciousness. They were very spiritually advanced. They became corrupted. They were seduced by technology when Enki took over the affairs of Atlantis. And Enki was Poseidon, by the way. For those that don't know the correlation, the gods of mythology and the gods of the Anunnaki are one and the same. So Enki was Poseidon, right? Poseidon had, 10 sons with his earth maiden, Cleito. And those 10 sons wanted to take over the earth, right? And that's Lord of the Rings, by the way. When you guys think of Lord of the Rings, one ring to rule them all. It's all in these movies. But the whole point is this, is that when Poseidon, Enki, took over the affairs of the earth, he was working with an advanced AI computer network in order to drop us in frequency. So after destroying the original organic moon, which is what they used to implode over Lemuria, using an advanced AC tractor, right? They brought it in, they collapsed Lemuria 50,000 years ago exactly. They needed to bring in a fake artificial moon, and that explains why our current moon is hollowed out and it's fake, right? It's been used by extraterrestrials for 50,000 years. In order to work with the vibrations and frequencies that they were projecting from the rings of Saturn, who in turn was actually projecting or bringing in these, I guess, negative frequencies that kept us in a very narrow limited of reality. That's when they dropped us in consciousness. So after the fall of Atlantis, humanity fell from a heightened state of awareness, and this explains why also we were living for 1,000 years, more than that, and then all of a sudden our lifespan decreased. And we fell into a lower consciousness, lower state of consciousness, because we were all dropped into this reality, what we call the third dimension. So this current reality construct was set into motion by the negative Anunnaki using this computer network, using the rings of Saturn, using our moon to broadcast us into a very limited range of reality, right? Not allowing us to ever escape, right? Creating the cycle of rebirth, death and rebirth, coming back into this reality. Of course, the Ascended Masters were able to break from that. But that reality construct comes to an end in 2028. So that's why all these roads lead to the major timeline split by no later than 2028. However, it was brought to my attention that there's going to be 3 solar flashes now. The first one is going to activate the first waivers. So whoever you are, you're going to be the first ones to achieve superhuman powers, right? I hope you guys use it for good. That's probably going to happen this spring at solar maximum. But there's going to be a second activation or a second ascension, a second solar flash that's going to be happening sometime in 2026, which many believe will be during a time where we are probably going to be making first contact, because I was told that beginning this year, we're going to have massive sightings everywhere. And I'm not talking about just little ships here and there. I'm talking about huge mother crafts appearing right above major cities, London, New York, Los Angeles. So due to that, and due to a lot of the classified information that's going to be released by the Earth Alliance sometime this year, beginning with the JFK files and the truth about 9/11 and all this stuff, things are going to be speeding up towards 2026 as having this huge contact, major event with extraterrestrials. So, but at the same time, again, they're going to try to build out the AI infrastructure. So those two realities are probably going to split by no later than 2028. Because in 2028, by then, humanity will had already make a choice to either align with the negative technocratic dystopian timeline or to go into the positive timeline. Because that's it. The third solar flash will be taking place in 2027, 2028, at the end of our current reality construct, right? Once this comes to an end, which, again, this reality construct is held by the electromagnetic field of the planet. That is weakening, right? The Schumann resonance is rising. At that point, we will have no other choice but to shift our awareness and consciousness either into the positive Earth that is already here, existing in dimensions 4, 5, and 6, or to be shifted and translated over into the cybernetic, artificial, digital reality. I don't want to be a part of that digital reality. I don't think anyone here does either. So we're going to have to make that choice. Not us, but we've already made the choice. But the unawakened, right? The mass numbers of humans are going to have to, they're going to be given that choice between now and 2028. So, as you guys know, I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of people are questioning this event called the solar flash. It actually has been predicted by many, many ancient cultures. You know, I believe that every tradition, you know, the Persians, ancient Zoroastrianism, they talked about the, I think they called it the Frasho-Kareti or something. Yeah, that's the term that they use, Frasho-Kareti, which was later, of course, adopted by our Judeo-Christian traditions. The Indians called it the Sambartika fire. And believe it or not, the Mormons also call it the transmuting flame. That's what they call it. The Mormons, the Latter-day Saints Church, they know about the solar flash, but they call it the transmuting flame. They believe that when this transmuting flame happens, they call it a purging with fire, where the wicked are going to be expunged or eliminated, and the righteous are going to inherit the new earth. So every ancient culture talked about this event. So there is a lot of evidence that, you know, this great event that is going to split the timelines will be happening sometime, you know, in the near future. But I was informed that it's going to happen in 3 stages. We're going to have a minor solar flash, and then we're going to, for the first activators, then we're going to have a second solar flash, and then the third one will be activating the rest of the humans, at least into upgrading them into living for a few hundred years. So even the normies, even the younger souls are going to be upgraded, by the way. They're going to be living for a few hundred years without any superpowers, and they're going to be existing in a type of a Star Trek society where, you know, they're going to have hover cars, anti-gravity aircraft, free energy, and all that. So the solar flash obviously represents a powerful transition, offering humanity a clean slate for spiritual growth. And again, I was informed that there's going to be 3 of those now. So it's not just one big event. There's going to be 3 of them. So in the end, humanity will have a chance to, again, become upgraded organically or choose the AI transhumanist timeline. And as a result of that, we are going to be witnessing the rise of superheroes. Now, the superheroes are going to be existing in the middle timeline. So there's going to be the technocratic dystopian timeline where, again, the transhumanist and the billionaires go into, right, as they merge with artificial intelligence. And then there's going to be a positive timeline where we go, and then there's going to be a middle timeline where it's going to be a little bit of both. You know, you're going to have average humans with no powers, but they're going to still live for a couple hundred years, 300 years. Their lifespan will increase. And then you're going to have superhumans or metahumans, super like gods and goddesses, popping in from the positive timeline, 5th, 6th dimensional Earth reality back into the 4th D. And then you're also going to have cyborgs. So in the middle timeline, that's when the superheroes, the era of the superheroes is going to exist in the middle timeline. And I guess, humanity's consciousness is collectively evolving towards enlightenment, supported by old souls and volunteers. That is you guys here. This is the Great Awakening, and it is a call for humanity to rise above division and step into universal awareness. And that's what's happening, where old souls and volunteers are guiding this transition. So every one of you is a guide, by the way, believe it or not. Even If you don't think you are doing it, you are. Your energy by itself is affecting the younger souls. You guys are having an impact on the younger souls to evolve into a positive timeline. Now, the younger souls are going to have an opportunity to move into the fifth dimensional or sixth dimensional Earth reality in the 4D timeline. They're going to be giving that opportunity. And we're also going to have 1,000 years of peace. 1,000 years of peace in the positive timeline. And then even in the fourth dimensional timeline, it's going to be much better than this world. That's going to give the younger souls the opportunity to evolve into the fifth dimension at the end of the millennium. Now, at the end of the millennium, do you guys know what's going to be happening? There's going to be, there's going to be the re-emerging again. They're going to come back together of the positive timeline and the negative timeline, and that's going to mark the end of the final war against the Ahriman, the AI god, Enki, the cyborgs, and that war will actually affect everything in the multiverse. And from what I heard, from what I felt, is that that timeline was already won by us. So we've already won that war in the future. So we have nothing to worry about, because again, the future is already coexisting with the present. So we have won that war. And the evidence to support that is the fact that we're still here existing today. Otherwise, we would cease to exist right now if the AI would have won that war. So we've already won that war. We have nothing to worry about, guys. And as a result of that, we freed all the souls in the multiverse that unfortunately fell victims into the inorganic timeline. So my closing words is that we are here to shape the new earth, every single one of you. And, we're guided by this awareness of unity. We're in inner light as we connect with each and every single one. The future is ours to create right now. That's why I always tell my students it's important to be in the presence, because when you are in the presence, you're actually creating your reality not only in the future, but you're also influencing your reality in the past. Did you guys know that the way it all works, according to the quantum eraser theory, is that it's not from left to right. It's actually both right to left, left to right. So the future and the past are influencing each other, guys. They're all happening at the same time. So that's why it's important to be in the presence. And then, of course, our shared mission is to build a new earth rooted in harmony, innovation, and collective empowerment. And the call to action invites everyone to contribute to their unique gifts to humanity's transformation. So each and every single one of you has something to contribute to the whole. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are already tapping into that. And one of the ways in which we're all going to have abundance in this new earth positive timeline is it's going to be by virtue of your gifts and talents. So whatever it is that you guys like to do best, whatever it is that you do on your days off, your hobbies, that's going to bring you your abundance. That's how you're going to be contributing to the greater whole. So with that in mind, am I done? Let's see. Oh, that's it. Yeah, look at that. And we still have time for Q&A, 15 minutes of Q&A.
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
What could you tell us about the 3 days of darkness and about these motherships that are going to locate outside of the Earth, slow down the rotation?
About the 3 days of darkness.
It's got a mic. Let's hear it again.
Sorry, can you tell us or explain more about the 3 days of darkness and about these motherships that are located? They're supposed to slow down the rotation of the Earth, and everything is supposed to rotate. The Earth's supposed to rotate the opposite way. Is that?
Yes. Well, right now, the Earth, they want to prevent what is known as pre-ascension, right? They want to prevent a pole shift, major geophysical upheavals, right? Which is something that happens at the end of every 25,000 years. So right now, the Earth is actually in a emergency rescue bubble that was put into place by the Rock Confederacy, not the Galactic Federation or the Alliance, but the Rock Confederacy, which are eighth dimensional collective gestalts. And in order to make sure that the ascension or transition into the new Earth goes smoothly without having any earthquakes and tsunamis where, it causes huge catastrophes. And also the 3 days of darkness, that has a lot to do with us being fully immersed in what is known as the photon belt. So when we are fully immersed in the photon belt, which I believe will be upon the third solar flash, which is the final solar flash, that is going to, again, upgrade even the younger souls, right? Those that are still programmed, if they so choose to wake up by then. They have till 2028, right? That's when this reality comes to an end, so they have to make a choice. There will be 3 days of darkness where our bodies are going to be kind of like in a sleep mode in order to acclimate to the new changes. So when we wake up in 3 days, we're going to be in our new earth. So that's the body's going to be sleeping a lot for 3 days, 48 hours, in order to adjust to the new frequencies. And some of you guys are going to wake up with 6, 7, 8 strands of DNA already. Some of you guys are going to wake up with 10, 11 strands, and some of you are going to wake up with 12 strands. So there's going to be different levels of upgrades. There's going to be different levels of superhumans. Yeah. Go ahead.
I have a gift for you.
Oh, thank you. As a gift for me, it's Seuss, silver coin. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, Seuss was the guardian of Atlantis, by the way, and he was the good guy. When you read Plato's version, Seuss was the protector of humanity, not Poseidon. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, so. Hello. Okay, so you talk about that there's going to be a future where we're going to have flying cars, and it's going to be kind of like that futuristic timeline, I guess. But if you choose, like when we make the choice, how do we make that choice? Like against, like say we choose not to have the AI, how do we have that technological future with the flying cars, and have not AI in it? Like, do you understand?
That's a very good question. That is going to be in the middle timeline, but we're still going to have AI, but it's not going to be as negative and cruel as the AI in the negative technological dystopia. That AI is going to be more like artificial general AI.
Okay. So there's a positive AI?
Well, in that reality, it's going to be somewhat positive. But also bear in mind that in that reality, there is the potential of where the cyborgs, the humans that become cyborgs, do become oppressors of the organic humans that do not have the superpowers. Because remember, the younger souls are still going to be evolving one increment at a time. So the younger souls are going to be in that timeline with the flying cars and everything, free energy devices. They're not going to have any supernatural abilities. So they're going to have to be protected by us that come from the 5th and 6th dimensional New Earth timeline. So we're going to be able to pop into that reality at will. Very similar to how the angels in ancient times popped into our reality, right? And then popped out of our reality at will.
Okay, so the choice is really to stay organic or
To stay organic.
and not take like all of the other technological advances that they want to put into our bodies. So that's the real choice.
Right, right.
Okay.
Because they will be rolling out mRNA vaccinations for every disease.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Let's take it here to the front, and we'll go to the back after these. And actually, you'll be next after them. Deborah? Okay, Deborah will be after them, and then you'll be next. Oh my God, I have so many questions. Wow. Let's just go like this.
Hi, I have a comment. My name is Dr. Rao. I consider all of you my brothers and sisters. I have been around many presentations in this conference and earlier, maybe 2-3 years. So much has happened on the earth for millions of years, and for the past hundreds of years, so much is hidden right underneath our feet. And in the galaxies and cosmos, forget it, for billions of years. There is only one person that I went around all these presentations that brings crucial knowledge about our galaxies and our Earth. That's my brother Ishmael. No one.
Hi, Ishmael.
Hi.
I'm curious, in this new timeline, in the biological timeline, how the sacred sites on the planet will become reactivated
Absolutely.
as galactic portals, etc.
Everything
Like
just-
turn all the pyramids and temples
Everything's
back
going to be
on.
back on. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the entire Earth is going to be dotted with temples, academies of light. The ancient mysteries are going to be restored for initiation for the younger souls that are going to be ascending, learning the higher evolution. So all of that stuff is going to be activated, and even the Great Pyramid in Egypt is the capstone is going to be lit once again, bringing in the cosmic currents into the Earth. So as it was in ancient times, it's going to come back as well, back into the new Earth. Yes, absolutely.
A couple of things. I've heard you say before that we are going to have new technologies, but it's more going to be organic AI. Like the Galactics, they have super technologies, but it's not the other AI that you're talking about. So isn't that true in the New Earth timeline that we're going to go, that we will have various types of technologies that's more organic?
Yes, it's going to be a living technology, and that living technology is currently dormant, part of our dormant DNA. So when we activate, by the way, we possess the greatest technology ever. It's an organic technology. That technology is what's going to allow us to do things even beyond AI. So, AI is just a mimicking of that, by the way. Yeah, but that's correct. In the highest timeline, positive timeline, we do use organic living technologies.
And I'm concerned about the next level of vaccines, which they did declare that was going to come out, and a certain amount of our community that just falls into it are families. Is that them choosing the transhuman agenda, or do they still have the option to not choose it if they are getting those vaccines, or do you know?
If they are getting the new vaccines that are going to be rolling out, the vaccines that they rolled out 3-4 years ago, again, due to the fact that 3-4 strands are coming back online, it's not really affecting people. But a lot of those people, remember, they were kind of coerced, they were manipulated. If you want to keep your job, you have to get vaccinated. But this time is different. This time is not to keep your job. This time they're going to give everyone a choice. So a lot of people are going to, unfortunately, a lot of people that are unaware are going to sign up for that. And that is not good, because that's really going to, you could say, create where there's going to be an assemblage of nanobots inside their body that eventually, as Elon Musk activates Starlink, by the way, Starlink, I'm sorry to say this, Starlink is what they called Skynet. When they activate Starlink and the Neuralink chip that he's going to also bring out, it's actually going to connect everybody into an internet of bodies, and we're all going to be connected to the computers. And it's going to suck, because at that point we're going to be, those that get the shot, they're going to be programmable like robots, unfortunately.
Okay.
Because due to the assemblage of nanobots in their body, it's going to take over their membrane, their nervous system, and so on and so forth.
One more thing to let people know, I'm hosting a panel, Building the New Earth Together, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., which Ishmael's going to be on, with Sasha Stone, Derek Brose, Zazar, Sarah Brexman-Cosme, and others. So we're going to take this conversation to the next level today. It's 5 to 7.
Where?
It's in the room, Los Angeles, where all the panels are. Mm-hmm.
It's the second floor.
So we have a few more questions. You could pick, I said we were going to go this way, and then we'll come back to you.
You want me to pick?
Yeah, let's go this way, because I think they've been raising their hands for a while too. We'll come back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ishmael, for sharing this knowledge with us. Talking about Los Angeles and smart cities, what is happening in Altadena? I understand that the governor is rezoning those areas. Is that for smart cities? Is that what is happening?
Unfortunately, yes, because Los Angeles will be hosting the Olympics in 2028. So they want to get everything installed before 2028 here in LA. But again, that's going to only be taking effect in a negative timeline. So by then, a lot of us have already been transitioning into the Earth by 2020. So we'll be able to kind of pop in and out of this reality and the New Earth reality.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My question's, hello,
Hi.
thank you. My question's about this solar flare you're talking about, even in the next month.
The first, yeah,
The
there's
first-
going to be 3 stages of it.
Is there something to do to not
Prepare?
do?
It's wise to have like 2 weeks worth of food and water, just in case the grid goes down and nothing works. Can't go to the grocery store and nothing's working. So, yeah, just be prepared. Just have enough water and food supplies for at least 2 weeks.
That's the preparation, nothing else like,
And then also
Your light body.
be spiritually prepared, because again, that's going to trigger the first wave of activators. So, you could be one of those.
hope so.
Yeah, just make sure you use those powers for good.
Yes.
Do you mind if I ask a quick question?
Sure.
So, my teams and the solar families I'm connected to the raw preparation group. Can you talk a little bit about being in the sun and activating the pituitary gland to prepare people for the organic ascension timeline and the role of the sun? Solar frequency?
Yeah, as you know, the sun is a living entity. It's known by various names. So we are cells within the solar system, right? Solar system being a body part of our universe. When we meditate, it's important right now more than anything to begin communicating with the sun, because the sun is processing light codes from the galactic core into our DNA. So the more you guys sit in place with the sun, it's going to be easier for you guys to transition when the solar flash takes place. But that's a very good question. And yeah, the Raw Confederacy or the Raw Collective is actually very evolved. They're even above the Galactic Alliance and Galactic Federation. They don't involve themselves in space wars or anything because they're so advanced. And yeah, they have technologies that literally surpass any technologies from negative or positive ETs.
Yeah, the Central Solar Intelligence is absolutely incredible.
It is.
I'm just so absolutely, completely blessed to be here. You're filling in so many spaces. I walked in a little while ago and I just couldn't bring all the files with me, so thank you.
You're welcome. Welcome.
Seems like they're blocking the sun though.
They're trying to, yeah. Bill Gates is trying to block the light codes that are coming in. Because again, within the secret society networks, they talk about this stuff. They know, even though they make us believe like they don't know what's going on, they know what's going on, and they fear this day. So that's why they're doing everything to try to prevent this from happening.
Hi, Ishmael.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. My question is, you mentioned that with the solar flash, I'm not sure if it's which of the stages, but you said that they are stealing all our, making a copy of us, and they're having it somewhere else.
Yes.
But with the solar flash, we're going to be okay, or we're going to be going somewhere else. But what's going to happen with that copy that they have of us?
The digital version of yourself?
Right.
Yeah, that's going to be neutralized when the solar flash takes place. Because, yeah, so that digital avatar that they're creating within the sentient world simulator will no longer be there, because you're going to be embodying who you really are in the higher dimensions.
Okay. So I was worried about that copy making messes over.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Ismail.
Hello.
Thank you so much for
You're welcome.
a mind-blowing presentation. I'm really new to your content. I didn't know of you until yesterday. And there was something that resonated with me on that panel yesterday. I am a PhD in psychology, so it's like the ascension process. I try to integrate that into my talks with clients and things like that. And so I feel like that is my purpose. My question, I have so many questions, but I want to narrow it to the last thing that you mentioned, that we may wake up after the solar flash from having 2 strands of DNA to 6 to 8. What would that look like?
It's very similar to, I'm going to give you a metaphor. Right now we're operating like 50s, 60s typewriters. So it's going to be very similar to going from being a typewriter, right, into a supercomputer overnight. So what that means is you're going to have access to all your memories. You're going to be reintegrating all your different higher vibrational selves. They're all going to be collapsing into the here and now. You're going to have this inner knowing. You're going to have access to all the Akashic records. All of a sudden, your mind is just going to go. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Mm-hmm. You're going to know everything. All the answers that you've ever sought and that we're looking for, they're all going to be there at the speed of light.
Including teleporting. Is that part of it?
Absolutely. Yes, especially if you're using 12 strands. For those that are using 12 strands, what that means is that you're going to be one with the quantum field. So you're going to be able to manipulate reality at will. To give you an example of that, watch the movie Lucy with Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly how it's going to be for those that are using 12 strands. We'll go with the guy with the hat, and then we'll go this way. 2 minutes, all right. 2 minutes. I'll just let you guys know, I will be signing books right outside on the table for those that want to get a book. I do have The Secret Government and Our Cosmic Origin with me.
Okay, I just want to try to connect a couple of dots. So Jerry Sargent is putting down crystals to build like a dragon grid, and he talks about a solar clock and the activation of a solar clock. and you're talking about that will actually controls the solar flares. So, are you aware of that, or do you have any connecting points on that? Just curious.
I've never heard of the term solar clock, but intuitively I'm feeling that that has a lot to do with a living intelligence that is coming from the galactic core, connecting with our sun, who's also a living being, broadcasting that data into our cellular structure. So I think it has a lot to do with that. But I've never heard of the term solar clock. And then let's take it to, is it Shanti? Shanti in the white.
Thank you so much for an amazing talk. You were just explaining about the timelines collapsing and us re-getting all the fragments of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to understand that concept as well, as the lady was saying, you know, how it's going to feel when we wake up having all our... What is it? So right now we have like our over selves existing in other timelines, and that's why only part of our DNA is activated? Is that what?
Yes, yeah.
I just wanted you to elaborate.
Sure. So there is a mathematical correlation with our genetic potential. Depending on how much we use, that will determine how much of our oversoul we're using. So right now, it's only like 2-3% of our consciousness needed as a 2-strand DNA human, 3 or 4 now. But as we use more strands, eventually we're going to be collapsing those higher versions of ourselves, like the avatar, the soul, then the avatar, and then the oversoul. The oversoul is using 12 strands. Once you collapse the 12 strands, start using 12 strands, then you are embodying all of your consciousness. And right now your consciousness is existing in every dimension. So you have a galactic avatar, you have a God avatar, and everything in between. So you are like operating different avatars all at the same time. Does that make sense?
I'm trying to picture, so basically that's how we basically come into
Yeah.
fullness.
Right. It's a multi-dimensional integration that's going to be happening.
So we will remember our full
You'll
universal
exactly and have all your abilities and talents available for you, because you're going to be integrating with those versions of yourself. Yeah. It's going to be exciting.
Thank you so much.
All right, time is up, guys. I'm going to be out there. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to honor Ishmael for winning the Best Book Award.
For winning the Best Book Award, Conscious Life Expo. You certainly deserved it. For our cosmic origins. Woohoo.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to go out there, and I do have both books for those that are interested in getting a signed copy.
If you're looking to make the easiest money of your life online on the internet, you need to check out the exciting world of digital marketing. This is a quick introduction where I'll show you everything you need to know to get started doing digital marketing and beyond. If you apply everything shown in this video and put in an honest effort, I can guarantee you that soon you'll be making several $1,000s per month, with the option to scale it further if you so desire. In this day and age, many people are quitting their 9-to-5 jobs and moving over to the world of digital marketing and making 6 and even 7 figures a year from the comfort of their own homes, while others choose to use their newly found freedom to travel all around the world while they run their online hustle on the side. In this video, we'll cover digital marketing, affiliate marketing, Google AdSense, Wix, Amazon, building your very own website, and more.
When we come to Zoom, that means we'll be a very easy communication. That's very advantages that what makes us human and not at the end of the show. You should be ready for true connect, and it's not, this chair is feel like the match with my hand and with my brain. But really I know stay in the highest version of you. So really like I can do frequency, this doesn't matter. What is your name?
When I was floating, I was open and thrilled. With the way life's spoken, I'm still trying to train my coping to chill. With the way earth's smoking and filled. Every blank space open until every blank face open revealed. Every time secret unconcealed. Every time you touch it, you feel broke. Now you know that's no way to live your life in the shadow of the night. In the shade of the blade, in the way you choose shall true. Cause I can't sleep, and I can't eat, and I can't beat my chest hard enough to vibrate earth's crust. Too tough, too good, you trust. You know you must bow to the top of the sound. And a little reminiscent of a clown. There's more to the face in the wake of a crown. And the more's at stake in the fate of a town. Till them all that take these replacements down. Put them all in the gate, like goes unbound. And they must have time to get brought to the ground. In the land of the sand, you do the damn heat from the hand. Speak with the man for the forecast. With the mega blast in, mega fast out. Meta more rise in the meta west sky. With the meta techno logo. When the pro roll so slow, all the wars of electric. Paddle up spring green with the right hand for the hot coals. Open up the box, go look. You got dots to connect and plot to protect. Now make sure you watch where the feather goes. Travelers exploration, rebuilding communication with the tower and the satellite and the main station. When the numbers come together, we're sticking with one another. We're balancing on a beam above a building. Watch them hover now. Travelers exploration, rebuilding communication with the tower and the satellite and the main station. When the numbers come together, we're sticking with one another. We're balancing on a beam above a building. Watch them hover now. Turn back, let's turn back, we should turn back, let's turn back, we should turn back, let's turn back, we should turn back, let's turn back to the front, low hats and that's just average.